Welcome to Hedgehog Watchdog. We're doing a special tonight. I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. CJ Abernathey, East River Coordinator, Libertarian Party, South Dakota. We're going to watch Kristi Noem's CPAC, or however you pronounce it, CPAC speech, and critique it, and have drinks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's do this.
Well, I'm glad to be on Hedgehog Watchdog. This should be great.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem.
Boo!
Yeah, boo.
Hi.
Oh, look. You did
Good afternoon.
good assumes the adjective of my day.
You all look wonderful. Well, it is such an honor to be with all of you here today. My guess, thank you. Now listen. My guess is that a year ago, most of you had no idea who I was. But unlike the DC media, I'm sure that you all at least know that there are two Dakotas, and that I'm the governor of the warmer one.
Is that supposed to be a
I'm here
joke?
today to share some of the lessons from my state.
Well,
I think the main
CJ.
question that needs to be answered this weekend is,
Man overboard.
why does America need conservatives? Now, the question of why America needs conservatives can be answered by just mentioning one single year.
Wi-Fi, Devin?
And that year is 2020.
Yeah.
Now, everybody knows that almost overnight, we went from a roaring economy to a tragic nationwide shutdown.
CJ needs my Wi-Fi code. I'll be right back while this is playing.
President Trump had created 7 million new American jobs.
Did you know that the average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop in their body at any given moment? Seems crazy, right? All that poop just sitting there.
What is going on your show?
We had the lowest unemployment rate in over half a century, and unemployment rates for Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans reached the lowest levels in history. More than 10 million people had been lifted out of poverty and out of welfare. And all of that changed in March. Now, most governors shut down their states. What followed was record unemployment, businesses closed, most schools were shuttered, and communities suffered. And the U.S. economy came to an immediate halt. Now, let me be clear. COVID didn't crush the economy. Government crushed the economy.
Just like you're crushing our economy by not letting us smoke weed.
And then, just as quickly, government turned around and held itself out as the savior. And frankly, the Treasury Department can't print money fast enough to keep up with Congress's wish list. But not everyone has followed this path. For those of you who don't know, South Dakota is the only state in America that never ordered a single business or church to close.
What about dispensaries? We forgot about that. We ordered them to close.
We never instituted a shelter-in-place order. We never mandated that people wear masks. We never even defined what an essential business is, because I don't believe that governors have the authority to tell you that your business isn't essential.
Except for dispensaries, apparently.
South Dakota schools are no different than schools everywhere else in America. But we approached the pandemic differently. From the earliest days of the pandemic, our priority was the students, their well-being, and their education. When it was time to go back to school in the fall, we
all right, well, let's rewind it for a second because CJ missed this part.
Administrators, parents, and the students themselves. I don't believe that governors have the authority to tell you that your business isn't essential.
Oh, really? Is that true, CJ? Is that true? Why are you suing
Now,
Amendment A?
South Dakota schools are no different
Pushing
than
for the
schools everywhere
delay
else
of
in America.
initiated
But we approached the
measure
pandemic
26.
From the earliest days of the pandemic, our priority was the students.
You're pretty
their
much
well-being,
considering
and their
those non-essential businesses.
When it was
then.
time to go back to school in the fall, we put our kids in the
All
classroom.
voted for it to be legalized.
Teachers, administrators, parents, and the
Constitutionally.
students themselves were of
Lawful.
one mind to make things work for our children. And the best way to do that was in the classroom.
Yeah. Government indoctrination camps.
Now, in South Dakota, I provided all of the information that we had to our people. And then I trusted them to
Except
make the best decisions for themselves,
information, how much
their
money you
families,
spend on
and
your
in turn, their
private, on
communities.
the state
We
plane to
never
go
focused on
campaign
the
for
case
Trump.
numbers. Instead, we kept our eye on hospital capacity. Now, Dr. Fauci, he told me that on my worst day, I'd have 10,000 patients in the hospital. On our worst day, we had a little over 600. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but Dr. Fauci is wrong a lot.
Got taken off of YouTube. I'm pretty sure she should be demonetized tomorrow.
Even in a pandemic, public health policy needs to take into account people's economic and social well-being. Daily needs still need to be met. People need to keep a roof over their heads. They need to feed their families, and they still need purpose. They need their dignity. Now, my administration resisted the call for virus control at the expense of everything else. We looked at the science, the data, and the facts, and then we took a balanced approach. Truthfully, I never thought that the decisions that I was making were going to be unique. I thought that there would be more who would follow basic conservative principles, but I guess I was wrong. Ask yourself this question: how far will people go to enforce mask mandates? Once you start lockdowns, how long will you sustain them? In South Dakota, we had some cases in March and April, but the virus didn't really hit the Midwest until late fall. Should we have kept people in their homes from March onward? Of course not. You know, it's important to ask these questions. We have to show people how arbitrary these restrictions are, and the coercion, the force, and the anti-liberty steps that governments take to enforce them. Often, the enforcement isn't based on facts. Justifying these mitigation efforts has been anything but scientific. Now, many in the media, they criticized South Dakota's approach. They labeled me as ill-informed, that I was reckless, and even a denier. Some even claimed that South Dakota was as bad as it gets anywhere in the world when it comes to COVID-19. That is a lie. The media...
I hate her.
The media did all of this while simultaneously praising governors who issued lockdowns, who mandated masks and shut down businesses, applauding them as having taken the right steps to mitigate the spread of the virus. At one point, I appeared on George Stephanopoulos' Sunday show. I don't know if you watched that. No, you don't?
No, I don't follow you that quickly.
He had just wrapped up a segment with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, where he asked...
Oh my God. More ad? Are you kidding me?
Friends would walk up.
He asked Cuomo to give me some advice on how to deal with COVID. Now seems like a really good time to remind everyone of what Governor Cuomo was doing in New York. On March 25th, Cuomo ordered COVID patients into nursing homes, and he prohibited the staff from testing people before admitting them. 9 days later, he pushed legislation prohibiting nursing home lawsuits over COVID deaths. 6 days after that, he prohibited nursing homes from sending COVID patients to the nearby Naval Hospital ship or the field hospital, both of which were essentially empty. Now, 8 days after that, the first deaths started to show up. And on January 28th of this year, the New York Attorney General announced that Cuomo and his administration significantly undercounted the number of COVID-related deaths in nursing homes by as much as 50%. To make matters worse, they tried to cover it up. Now that is the media COVID hero. And by the way, he also earned an Emmy, and he wrote a book on his COVID response. So who really needed the advice? Again, in South Dakota, we did things differently. We applied common sense and conservative governing principles. We never exceeded our hospital capacity, and our economy is booming. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the nation.
We have the most equity slaves.
We are number one in the nation for keeping jobs, keeping businesses open, and keeping money in the pockets of our people.
Should you just say slaves?
Why did you guys
The people
pass a
of South Dakota
tax
kept their
on
hours and their
sports
wages
betting?
at a higher rate than workers anywhere else in the nation. And our schools are open. America needs conservatives at the state and at the local level, but we also need conservatives at the highest level of government too. In America, we have government of, by, and for the people.
Can we just start
That's
playing
right.
bullshit buzzer?
That's exactly.
You have a bullshit buzzer on this show?
No, I don't.
Our
I can't
founding
play it
fathers
while I have another
established our
video
national
going, at least.
constitution. And the people of individual states crafted their own constitutions that place specific limits on the role of government. Those limits are essential to preventing government officials from trampling on people's rights.
Yeah, like when we voted to legalize weed and you're
primarily
trampling on
responsible for
that.
their own health and their well-being. They are the ones who, entrusted with expansive freedoms, the free will to exercise their rights to work, worship, and to earn a living. No governor should ever dictate
changing
to their
laws in
people
our own
which
state.
activities are officially approved or are not approved. And no governor.
She's such a freaking hypocrite. I hate
People are
her.
not asking the right questions. They're not asking the right questions because they kind of think they already know the answer.
I'd rather watch that than her.
I know.
Damn it,
No governor should ever arrest,
Back to the commercial.
ticket, or fine people for exercising their freedoms.
Fuck you, Kristi Noem. Just straight up, fuck you. Sorry, Dave.
Governors and members of Congress and the president have a duty to respect the rights of the people who elected them. It seems these days that conservatives are the only ones who know what that means. Personal responsibility is considered a God-given gift in South Dakota. Personal
Really?
responsibility
Why
is
are
not
you
a term that conservatives
Why can't we take the personal liberty
When
to
I was
smoke
preparing to come
cannabis?
speak with you, I came across some fascinating remarks that were made back in 1962. Listen to this. The Declaration, above all else, was a document not of rhetoric, but of bold decision. The Declaration unleashed not merely a revolution against the British, but a revolution in human affairs.
It was a revolution
This
against the
doctrine of
government.
national independence
What was
shook
run by the
globe,
British.
and it remains the most powerful force anywhere in the world today.
She does not know the story.
Fantastic, right? Those are the words of Democrat President John F. Kennedy.
Nice.
Is there any wonder why Ronald Reagan often said, "I didn't leave the Democratic Party"?
Who got shot?
There was a time when both political parties clung to certain fundamental principles. But today we seem not to even share the most basic ideals. America needs people who will stand up for these fundamental principles. America needs conservatives. It's easy to look back on 2020 and remember all of the issues that we had with
Conservatives need to smoke
COVID
weed.
is only
That
one piece
is
of
the
a very
solution, I think.
problematic
I
puzzle.
think that
It
she's
certainly
a
showed us
fascist
how
dictator.
deep the divide really is,
Yeah.
and how thin the barrier is between freedom and tyranny.
You know that all
But
too
there was a
well.
worse movement that was happening.
You know that
in
all too well,
2020,
Kristi.
and it's an ongoing problem.
It is.
Across America these last several months, we watched an organized, coordinated campaign to remove and eliminate all references to our nation's founding and many other parts of our history. Rather than looking to the past to help improve our future, some are trying to wipe away the lessons of history.
Thank you. Shut up, Kristi. Thank God for technology.
In 1889, when the state of South Dakota was founded,
the number one cash crop in this state was hemp and cannabis. And for her to say the word she does, like she actually believes that we have freedom, but it's so obvious that we don't, that her even saying the word is just an insult to your intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I feel insulted listening to her talk about how she stands up for personal liberties when 70% of the state voted for medical marijuana, and they're trying to delay it for like 15, 17 months.
Yeah,
and
no, it's treason.
54% supported legalizing marijuana altogether.
No, it's treason.
And somehow that is been somehow one judge in Hughes County, South Dakota, just said, nope, weed's unconstitutional somehow.
No, I don't get my permission from a judge. Thank you.
Yeah. Like, in my opinion, that stuff's enacted the day we voted on it. There's no going back. There's no judge can just erase what we did. It's enacted now. Like, I think it's just a matter of us.
I think they can.
Like, are we just gonna like roll over and let them do it, or are we actually gonna go to peer and protest? I think.
I mean, we could.
Because what I'm hearing from the people who ran IM 26 Amendment A, they said they were going to organize a protest, but that was weeks ago. No date yet. And now I'm hearing they're compromising with the Republicans to they'll be okay with the delay, but as long as medical patients aren't arrested.
No, fuck you guys.
So it's like,
sorry,
man,
I can't, man.
I feel like compromising with them is just rolling over and accepting that they can do this to us, whereas we don't have to accept what they're doing to us.
No, we don't. Why should we be accepting that they can throw us in a cage for something today that tomorrow they're going to say it's okay?
I feel like they don't have the authority to arrest people for weed anymore here, that juries will just acquit people if it ever went to a court. I would hope that juries would acquit people.
You would hope.
Like, to the extent that the lawmakers are like, you know what, we can't do this anymore. The juries are just acquitting everybody. I mean, they voted for this. We try to scam them out of it because we're conservatives. We just don't like their whole issue with it literally is they're afraid Democrats will move to South Dakota. And it's like, dude, there's so many other states that Democrats will move to besides South Dakota. South Dakota is probably like number 20 on the list of states that have legalized it. Maybe what you think, 10 or less? I'm thinking like Oregon, Washington, Colorado are the top 3. Illinois legalized it, so you got Illinois now. Like, why would you come to South Dakota? You have 4 super liberal states you can go to instead.
Well, first and foremost, Devin, I've lived in California and Washington.
Oh yeah, California too.
And so, in my world, cannabis is just a settled science that it's a medicine, And it's also a settled science that it can be regulated no differently than alcohol or within its own legal construct. They've proven that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in Washington, I could just get up in the morning, buy an ounce of weed, go smoke it, and then wake up the next day and go buy a new ounce.
Yeah, dude.
And nobody said I was a traitor or I was a criminal.
Like, are they seriously going to put people in jail after we're not going to put Roundsburg in jail for weed?
I mean,
is South Dakota really going to do this? Are we going to be that state?
I mean,
dude, I'm just so fucking frustrated about this whole situation with our leadership, and it's not leadership; it's tyrannicalism.
No, it's
fascist dictator.
It's fascism.
It's literal. We just watched a whole debate on libertarianism, fascism.
Yeah, and we couldn't really tell the difference between the fascist and the Republican Party platform, honestly, in my opinion. It was pretty difficult. Yeah, we're watching that on Echo Chamber podcast, so check that out.
Yeah, that was actually a really great show.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, like anything in production, it's hard, a lot going on when you're trying to coordinate live, you know?
Yeah.
And you have so much coming in and inundating you. I mean, with Adversity, man, we get a lot of people that come on and leave comments and have questions, and
yeah,
it's hard to get to them all. It really is. So, you know, I was a first-time viewer, so you know, you just kind of introduced it to me, and I love the format. I think it's definitely creative, and I think it's going to give people an opportunity to hear these bigger philosophical questions. Although I hate Luciferian Ben Shapiro already, you know, like that guy really is not my favorite person in the world tonight. But
maybe we could
me an anxiety attack in like Devin's house. So, but yeah, no, you sound like Kristi. He sounds just like Kristi Noem, you know, like we are the only ones that can dictate. We'll tell you it's freedom. Just shut up and accept it. You know, like. Don't question, just show up at Cracker Barrel in church on Sunday, you know? Just maybe get some Dominoes. I'm sorry. That's your show, dude. Not my show. Oh, I'm eating another piece to shut me up. All
right, let's get through this. We're halfway through.
Lessons that we should be
this
teaching
investigation
to our children,
Kristi faster than Jason.
This approach focuses exclusively on our forefathers' flaws, and it fails to capitalize on the opportunity to learn from their virtues. And they had many of those.
Not touching that.
By discrediting the individuals who formed America's founding principles, they create doubt. And then they
probably would say that. Like if you think about it, if we went back to 1776, they would literally say that.
To help explain why this is wrong.
Can I get an amen?
Remember, America wasn't founded for the personal
but no, Kristi doesn't want to teach that history either.
Of men like Washington, Adams, and Jefferson. The signers of the Declaration of Independence put their lives and
let's just ignore that. Yeah, let's just ignore that women couldn't vote until the 20s, or get their own bank account without a co-signer until like what, the 70s or 80s.
And not just because it serves as the justification for our independence to the entire world, but also because it has led to our prosperity. And it's inspired many other nations and people to seek
cannabis in your life.
Dude, what about that quote? There's a quote from Jefferson where he talks about sitting on his back porch and smoking hemp and relaxing and chilling.
We the people have consented.
I don't know if it's a real quote or not,
but all of us equally. A government that will protect and uphold our God-given rights, as well as the fundamental rights enumerated by our Constitution. It is our duty to renew our commitment to these ideals and to pass them on to those who come after us. These ideals cannot be dismissed as the opinions of flawed men. Our founders had their flaws, certainly, but to use those flaws to condemn their ideals and the greatest Constitution that the world has ever seen is both unjust and it's self-defeating. How many of us can even live up to our own ideals? Without the words, the beliefs,
she can, I can.
Of those few, the world would not have a ringing example of true freedom. To attempt to.
How many of us can even live up to our own ideals, anyways? Wow, she said that effortlessly, even. Like, Jesus Christ. That should be the Republican conservative motto.
We should put that.
How many of us can live up to our ideal?
We should put that for
you went for president. I'm telling you, that's got to go on.
Oh my God, dude. Nobody's like gasping or anything. She says that. Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Cancel the founding generation is an attempt to cancel our own freedoms. Let's always remember, America is good. Freedom is better than tyranny. We are unique. We are exceptional. And no American should ever, ever apologize for that.
Clap, you fucking monkeys.
Stand up. Wow, dude. These people should be ashamed of themselves.
Nobody stopped what she said. I said, hey, you were.
Oh, it's not a freaking ad.
Another
Breath. I know, dude. We have a job to do, though, man.
We should illustrate to the world that people thrive when government is limited and people's ingenuity and their creativity is unleashed. We should also remind the world what happens when tyranny and oppression are allowed to thrive.
Just look at South
These
Dakota.
days, too many are embracing China, a nation that crushes freedom of speech and religion. China literally places.
Dude, oh my God, dude. You know what's the same thing about South Dakota and China? We both have a one-party system.
Amen. Point, but hey,
like you can't have freedom with one party. I'm sorry.
My religion says that I can smoke cannabis and there's not nothing the government can do. Now what can do your move?
Like you don't have freedom when people have to. Well, they don't have to, but they claim that selling out and being a Republican is going to somehow bring about freedom in South Dakota just because it's a one-party state. And nobody here wants to vote for anything but Republicans. Not everybody, obviously, but you know, I'd say like what 70-65%.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree with that.
Religious minorities in internment camps. China responded to the COVID virus by trying to cover it up. And one of their mitigation strategies was to weld doors shut to lock families in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
Friends of China are not friends of freedom. Make no mistake, America's leadership is needed in the world.
Hey,
so now let's have a really candid conversation.
What was Jason reading Tunnel Crash?
Dude, he's reading Dakota Free Press and Real Clear Politics, and there's one other thing I forgot. But yeah, dude, we're gonna cover that tomorrow. Oh, actually today, because it's already past midnight. So yeah, in 14 hours, we'll be covering the Roundsburg interviews. We have saved the interviews. They were erased from the internet, but we obviously Hedgehog Watchdog's on the ball. We got them. We're gonna play some of them. We're gonna play the highlights at least.
We'll judge. We really pissed off.
I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore, dude. Like you won't let us smoke weed. You are letting our attorney general get away with murder. Like the law doesn't matter anymore. The law has never mattered, but now it really doesn't matter. I mean, what's the point of petitioning and voting?
True point.
Like literally, what is the point of it if like when we do it and we pass it and it passes, if they can just file some bullshit lawsuit and then make some bullshit up about how this is an unconstitutional petition. Yeah, they get the judge from Hughes County, which is the county where the Republican headquarters is centered in Pierre, South Dakota. One judge can just overrule what 600,000 South Dakotans that voted for this. I actually have the figure. Let's get the exact figure up. Yeah. 225,000 people voted for legalizing weed. That passed by 54%. 291,000 voted for medical. That's 70%. Both of those have been struck down by the conservative South Dakotan government, which was so gracious to like not do a mask mandate. Woo! Let me tell you something right now. South Dakotans wouldn't have abided by any mask mandate if it was given anyways. They were forced to not close us down and to give us any mandates because we would have freaking lost it. We would have gone, I don't know, we would have maybe stormed to some things. Potentially.
Well, I mean,
you know, South Dakota is not a state where you tell people what to do. That's what really pisses me off about them coming hard against weed, even though we legalized it. Like, why are we rolling over and accepting this? Like, I still feel like a big protest is gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it needs to happen, and it's going to happen. God damn it! It better happen. That's all I'm saying.
Miss your show.
Everyone in this room and those listening at home, they know that America needs leaders right now. Those leaders need wisdom. They need the confidence to stand up for our principles and a will to act.
I feel like I need some
Those
chloroform to
leaders
like
need to be
knock myself
conservative.
out.
We have a lot
to
of work
survive
to do in
this.
the coming months. What may have worked in the past is not good enough.
Whose idea was it to watch us and
Not
go
enough to say
live?
vote for us because your pocketbook will be bigger, or because we'll cut your taxes and reduce the regulations, or because we'll fight against abortion or Obamacare or whatever else. I'm not saying that these things aren't important.
No,
They
nobody's
are among
watching
the
either.
pillars of what we believe.
That's cool
But
though.
conservatives must lead the nation away from borrowing against our children's future.
Nobody wants to
put
listen
an
to
end
Chris
to the
Nome, even
accounting
if we're
gimmicks
commentating
used
on
to
it, and I
deceive
respect
people.
them for
Joe
that.
Biden has been in politics for 50 years. At that time, our national
Yeah,
debt was roughly
somebody needs to listen to her and
$450
shit
billion.
talk, because that's
Today,
how
that's pretty
America
close
works.
to what we pay in interest on our national debt. Everyone is to blame.
No,
We have forgotten
not
principles
libertarians.
we once held dear.
Libertarians are not to
closely
blame.
articulate to the American people that we are the only ones who respect them as human beings. That we are the only ones who believe the American people have God-given rights. We are not here to tell you how to live your life, how to treat you like a child or a criminal because you go to church.
Or because we want to smoke weed.
Conservatives respect
You're such
people
a
as
lying
individuals.
sack of shit.
We
I
don't
can
divide
smell it
people
through my
based on their
microphone.
religion, their culture, or the color of their skin. We don't shun people who think for themselves. And we understand that every single person is different. Each person deserves the opportunity to build his or her life without some self-important government bureaucrat
like
telling
you.
them what they can or what they can't do. We don't have the media on our side. Conservatives must be smarter than progressives. We must know our history. We must know what works and what doesn't work. We must think through the issues and make no mistake about it. Conservatives exist to fight for America and for every single
Literally fight for
No, you
for
don't. You
those
fight
of
for
you who are
Nazism.
disappointed about the election. I am too. Remember, incredible innovation, though, it took place after Goldwater's 1964 landslide loss. It took the creation of many institutions, including the American Conservative Union,
we're
the
communists,
National
we
Right
know
to
it,
Life,
clap your hands.
the Heritage Foundation, the
Conservatives are
Manhattan
literally
Institute,
fascists.
Concerned Women for America, the Federalist Society, Family Research Council, and among
What do
others,
you do if she
it
becomes
took
president
many
of the
to
United
change
States?
hearts and to change minds.
I
It
don't
was
even know, dude.
institutions like these that
Where
helped
would you
bring about
live?
the Reagan Revolution and bring American exceptionalism
I don't want to keep living
back.
in South
Their work is
Dakota.
more important today than ever before.
I don't know. I'm fond of
So
it
what
at
can you
this
do
point.
right
I'm
now?
like 31.
Very simple.
I'm not
You
trying to
can
go
vote.
start my life over in some other
You can
state.
show up, debate these ideas, persuade your neighbors. This pandemic illustrated that many politicians have a totally different vision for government than what the founders laid out. It was once said that the left takes its vision seriously, more seriously than it takes the rights of other people. They want to be our shepherds, but that requires us to be the sheep. Let it be heard loud and clear from us right now. We will not.
Oh my god.
Give me right here. Just right after school.
So YouTube algorithm picks up her speech pattern like it's supposed to be a big thunderous applause. But right before the climax, they're sticking an ad spot.
Yeah.
And to me, it's kind of insulting your intelligence. Again, you know,
as much as I'm trying to just have like a bout of Tourette's,
just start flying off the handle at her. They just tell me I'm crazy. Like dictators gaslight people.
Yeah.
And she's gaslighting the word freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And then what she does back here in South Dakota is anything but. Freedom, as long as it's government freedom.
Yeah.
Kristi Nome approved freedom. So he's making her word freedom when she uses it versus say like libertarians use word freedom. Hers comes with an asterisk.
Oh yeah, like a big asterisk with a long list.
Big God bless and advertised asterisk. Oh, telling you, this is she's just as hard to the fascist guy earlier. How much more do we got? See?
6 minutes. Dude, there is no meat onto anything she's saying. It's all just a bone that's empty. She's a hypocrite beyond measure. Stop applauding her.
No, dude, she literally referenced sheep and got a sheep reaction.
I'd like to close today with a story.
Like, you guys don't see
My dad was a cowboy.
Oh,
He was the toughest person that I've ever known.
I feel like I could take
Ever
a
since
shit
I was a real little girl, I just wanted to grow up and be like him. Now, he died in an accident on our farm when I was 22
watch on the toilet, you guys.
And a couple months after he was killed,
later,
I finally got the courage to go out
Yeah.
and clean
share it
out
on
his
my
pickup.
page and hopefully.
Now, all of you who have a farmer or a
This is like a
rancher
good
in your
toilet
life, you know that they
broadcast
often
for-
live out of their pickups.
Like, hey guys,
Everything important can be found in the
This is
cab.
so
Their
cringy.
wallet,
Yeah.
bills to pay, tools, you name it. And if you need to find something important, every single one of us farmers' kids knows that the pickup is the first place that you look. Now, as the new general manager of the business, a couple of months after Dad died, I knew that where that pickup
I can say
was,
something really
what was
mean right
needed,
now,
and
but
I
I'm
needed
gonna
to clean
be
it out
above it.
eventually.
I'm gonna be above it.
Those months had also been filled with hundreds and hundreds of questions. What seed should we be planting?
I haven't
What
drank
field
enough
should we
to
plant first? What's the price that we need to
stoop
sell
to
our
those
calves
lows.
for to cash flow the cattle operation? And I didn't have those answers. I remember wishing over and over again, if I could just ask Dad, if I could
You
just
know,
ask Dad one more question. And frankly, I
yes,
was running
I
the business,
am.
but I was fully faking my way through it.
I'm showing her
I had
mercy.
no idea how we were
She's
going
setting
to keep our
herself
family
up though
business
for
going without my
really
dad.
brutal.
And I was determined, though,
She's lucky
that
I'm
we
not
weren't
Bill
going to
Burr.
fail.
That's all I'm saying. She's lucky.
So that day, as I carried a box out to the pickup, I knew it was time to clean it out. I stuck my hand down into the console in the middle between the chairs in the front seat.
Is that where she
and
found
I started
meth
to
for the
put
first
items
time?
in the box that I was taking out. So the first thing was a pliers. How many of you know what a pliers is? A Baby Ruth candy bar. I remember that was his favorite. Notebooks, pens, tools. And then I found a little tiny tape recorder. It was the kind of tape recorder that a doctor dictates into. I pushed the play button and immediately I heard my dad's voice. He was talking about seed corn varieties, which ones had performed well on certain fields that we owned that went with certain soil types. He spoke about how we'd had such a wet year the year before that resulted in poor crop yields and damaged grain. We had had a tough harvest, and he went on to describe what kind of variety choices he would have made differently, what he thought might work better for the spring.
I think
that we were
Kristi Nome's
anticipating
ranch
ahead.
actually has
My
gotten
eyes started to
$5
fill up with
million
tears as I
in
realized I
government
was learning information
subsidies.
that was going to be helpful to me in making crop
Conservatives out there, if you happen to be listening
I
to the
looked down into
show,
the console and I saw several more tapes, almost a dozen
I don't
of
know.
them in all. And one by one, I put them in the tape recorder sitting there in that pickup, and I listened to my dad's voice talk about the cows, weather, markets, and what to do if we were ever caught in a tough financial situation. Inside those tapes were the answers to so many of the questions that I had had over the past several months. Over and over again, I had said, if I could just ask Dad. And here in my hands were all the answers that I needed, straight from him in his voice in the palm of my hand. Now, in that moment, I felt a strange sort of peace settle over me. I know Scripture talks about a peace that passes all understanding. It was almost at that moment as if God was saying to me,
oh my
I will
God.
provide. Stop worrying. You will be okay. Your family will be okay. I've got this. I had the answers. I just needed to get
Dude, Kristi, that was Satan.
Now, Dad
Like, you
was
got
always the hardest
confused.
worker that I knew.
Now look at
He
you.
led by example and he led by
God
action.
wants you to
But
wear this
that day,
red ass
what
fucking
changed
dress.
everything
No,
was
that's
his
devil's
words.
work, dude.
I made a
The
decision that
devil
day
did
to be
that.
like my dad. A person of words, but a person of action. Because both matter. That's why I ran for office. My mission is to make South Dakota a better place. A better place to live, to do business, and to raise a family. One of the reasons I care so deeply about these issues is because I want these things for my family and for every single American family. I believe South Dakota has been an example to the nation this past year. People use personal responsibility to protect their family's health and their way of life, while the government respected their rights and their freedom. And we...
Yeah, dude, it makes sense. Oh my God.
Militarism, fascism.
We are
What would you
working
leave in your
together to
tape
create new
recorder?
opportunities and a better future for our kids. We took the American path.
Yeah, dude.
Let me close with this. As conservatives, we often forget that stories are much more powerful than facts and statistics. Our stories need to be told. It is the only way that we will inspire and motivate the American people.
This black cat's protecting me from her witchcraft.
We must go into this fight
Protect
for
me,
freedom
Sigga.
with our eyes wide open.
Don't let her get
Educated to
me.
the tactics the liberals will
Keep
use,
her devil magic at
yet
bay.
totally pure in our motives. This isn't about us. It's about our children and their future. It's about the nation that we're going to pass on to them.
Okay, you're free.
It's about
Go. Go
telling
be a
their
libertarian
stories
cat.
over and over that remind us why America needs conservatives now more than ever. So thank you for all that you do. America is
I think this is a
blessed
mistake.
to have you on her side.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
God bless each and every one of you, and may God bless the
Hey,
United States of America.
Oh, thank God.
Season it is.
It's over.
Handsome twin season. Handsome twins in bathing suits.
All of you.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, this is a late night to bed.
Yeah. This is a late night special. I'll clarify.
I mean, if you are watching this as a parent and think that your kids need to watch us, watch it. I question your parenting. But either way, the adults in the room, can you honestly look at yourself, watch something like that, and then go to the mirror and like believe the words you're saying and how contradictory you are, not only in legislation, but in action and enforcement, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it blows my mind how,
It
it blows my mind how two-faced it is, you know? And so genuine. She is so genuine. It's hard to look at her even right there. You know, like,
I'm doing both. I don't care.
yeah.
So what now? I don't even have much to say about it. I'm so burnt out on her. Like, I have nothing good to say about her at all.
Okay, let's like try to say something about Kristi.
I don't know. I kind of like how she reminds me of Cruella DeVille. That's pretty. I like that character. Like, I don't like what she's trying to make fur coats. I don't like that, but I just kind of like the whole concept of some crazy witch lady.
I don't know if I was with my children, I'd be like, all right, kids, that wasn't a compliment. Like, that's not really
Okay. All right. I think,
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
man, dude.
Like, what part
Okay,
of the
dude.
enjoy most about her?
Oh man, I don't.
What freedom do you have in South Dakota?
I do. Oh my god, I don't know.
I mean,
Not even that. I can't think of anything.
What freedom do you have? You really think about it?
I can't think of anything that's not like slantedly in opposition to her. Even I'm just like.
I mean, seriously.
I feel like she's good for like when you really need to get like pumped up and angry about something, just listening to her talk makes me angry and just want to like be proactive about freedom to spite her.
Yeah. Like, just shove it up in your face.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah,
I mean,
Like going out on the petition trail to legalize weed, I literally thought about Kristi Noem at least once a shift about like we're gonna stick it to Kristi Noem. We're actually gonna do this. We're pulling in like thousands of signatures a day. Like they set us up to fail so many times. They set us up to fail first by holding the petition that was submitted till there's 2 months left to get it all the signatures. So we needed to get like 50,000 signatures in 2 months, which is unheard of, never done before in South Dakota, anyways.
right.
We did that, made the deadline, and then now this bullshit lawsuit.
Yeah, man. So when I remember out being out in the cornfields, I kind of remember the whole thought being that the constitutional amendment said they have no right as government to regulate it, tax it,
or any of that.
Yeah.
Right? So why did the amendment come out basically giving the government permission to do that?
What do you mean? I missed that. Sorry.
So the constitutional amendment gave the government that ability to tax and regulate it. Right?
Yeah, 15%.
Oh, see. But the original thought behind it, the constitutional amendment, was that it gave the government no right to.
No, it caps the tax at 15%.
No. When I was getting like original constitutional amendment, I was getting like there's a talk going around about. I can't talk with I can hear you. When there was talk going around about the constitutional amendment, or at least in my parts, was the idea that the government had no right to tax or regulate the hemp plants, cannabis plants at all. Like that family of plants is no different than blades of grass.
Yeah.
You know, like no different than any natural plant, or you could industrialize it yourself if you want to in a free market.
Yeah.
You know, and when this state was started, it was literally the number one cash crop in all of the. We had the number one GDP in that time when we became a state. Well, when I say we, with the collectives in the term of me in there, but South Dakota, when this state became that. That kid. I used to be vegetarian, man. So, I mean, Greg tonight is probably why we don't have interaction in the comments and all that, huh?
Yeah, everybody loves Greg, so.
I mean, Greg must be the powerhouse of the show, bringing it all.
We got the late night hour, though.
Well, I mean, there's got to be people awake, you know, but.
Well, one person. We got one person watching.
No, that's fine. Just one person watching. You know, hey, we care about you. Unless you're a fascist, in which case we might have other choices. But
yeah,
I mean, what is your thoughts on like a libertarian fascist? Like,
I think it's an oxymoron.
So like, okay, so when we went to Orlando, we kept hearing people like, "Oh, Kristi Noem, she's great," you know, like, and I keep going, "Who are you?" You know, you think like, where's the delegation from South Dakota? And you're libertarian yourself, you think she's great? Like, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like, what is a libertarian fascist? Do you think she's one of them? No, you're not libertarian at all. Okay, well then why do they say she's the most libertarian governor we have? So, hedgehogwatchdog.com. I'll do Devin's job for him. Pink coin. Get yourself some pink coin. Shout out to Greg sitting in your seat tonight. And, yeah, man. Good to be on Hedgehog Watchdog. Tell you what. That's so. But to me, like, why do we put ourselves to this torture? I mean, people would ask us, you can always leave, right? Guys picking statement, in my opinion. I kind of want to go to that fascist state that says they have freedom. Challenge.
Hey, she'll be at Freedom Feast. And the Libertarian Party's got a booth at Freedom Feast.
Oh, dude, you are not good enough.
Dude, can you imagine? It's gonna be Kristi Noem on the stage with Joe Jorgensen, Justin Amash, and a bunch of other people.
I'm about to hangers.
I know.
Dude, I'm about to. Dude. So, where's this located at?
Rapid City. I think it's in July.
Oh, you can put me down as going. You can mark that on the calendar. July what? Please say something.
I have no idea. To look it up. I'm trying to call Cody a cab real quick.
Hey, if you're First Nations people, get ready for a massive protest. I mean, you might be tasting tear gas, and you're ready to you're gonna ride into fucking battle. I'm telling you, because they're gonna do a fireworks show again. And Biden's been invited to go, of course, even though it's kind of like
my ears all fucked up right now.
Fascists meet the communists, and they're kind of like, let's blow up some, taxpayer-funded, colored bombs in the sky to celebrate our respective status. Authoritarians. Oh, did I lose it?
No, you're still on. Well, yeah, I'm just trying to call Cody a cab. I was told him I'd call him a cab, and it's like, dude, you waited till now when I'm on live streaming to.
Isn't that always how?
It's like, dude, you left like 2 or 3 hours ago, bro.
Isn't that how it always happens?
You know, dude, it's annoying.
It's 12:30, but
Yeah.
still, there's. I mean, when you running for chair, I mean, that's like to me, we have to have an in. So I would, with what I was talking to you earlier about with this Ian Fury, you heard the name, not to be confused with the Marvel's character. More if he was, he'd definitely be on Team Hydra. But there should be an in. So for every week. She's supposed to be doing weekly press conferences, right?
Yeah.
That was the deal. And I'm just saying, I know how to open the door, at least here in South Dakota. Every governor pretty much has a communications director. So getting credentials to, ask the governor questions every week is should be in a free state, freedom of the press. And I mean, Hedgehog Watchdog should have a seat at that table, don't you think?
Yeah. Because we're gonna ask real questions. We're not gonna ask.
Yeah. What do you think Kristi Noem would do?
Even internet warlords would be better.
Of course. Well, I mean, both.
Yeah.
Like the same one we did on that show. We would just be watching Kristi, and then when she goes, "There any questions on the phone?" She's gonna cringe every time she hears, "Kristi, this is CJ Abernathey, Internet Warlords, the War for the Internet." She's gonna cringe every time that phone rings.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up question will be like, Devin Saxon, Hedgehog Watchdog here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get independent media at this government table. We're gonna ask some tough questions, but yeah, man. Special.
Yeah.
What do you call this studio?
I don't know. Hedgehog Watchdog Studio.
No, dude. still think like where did Hedgehog live? You know, like what's the official title for a hedgehog living space?
A burrow?
Is it a burrow?
I don't know. It sounds good.
Is there something commented?
Here, I gotta make a phone call real quick.
Okay. Phone call. Ask him what the. I can't. I don't have a computer or nothing, but I would ask the question, what?
Hey, he'll be there in 7 minutes. All right. Okay. All right. So I'll get that settled finally. It's forever. I'm not gonna focus.
Nice. You got Google.
Yeah.
Google. What is the living space of a hedgehog?
Okay.
If it's a burrow, you win the internet tonight.
What is living space
For the internet.
of
The page is
a hedgehog?
still a little lacking in the store department. I'll go to the guy that was at the gas station. They get one too. Hopefully.
You know, it's really sad. The first thing that came up is cage.
Oh no!
No.
Oh no! The hedgehog cage.
Desert dwellings.
No. It's gotta be. First, they you're just trying to figure out what's outside the cage. The cage called
Let's see. Have any comments?
Let me just live in my cage peacefully.
It's just so late. Nobody wants to comment on anything.
Oh, that's whatever. Comments are what they are. Free any.
Oh, here we'll look through this with everybody. We'll find out where hedgehogs.
I mean, it is Watchdog, so I mean, you should know everything. The number one investigator.
Well, I answered the questions. Goddamn, was a cage. Okay, hedgehogs come from cages, man.
No, that's a natural environment. There's got to be an environment. Like, are they burrowers? They just like.
Yeah, burrows. Hedgehog homes are usually burrows and nests. They build themselves. Here we go.
Okay, right. So
I found it.
So what's the?
So I was right.
The hedgehog burrow.
Yeah, the burrow studio, hedgehog burrow studio. I don't know. Just the burrow. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just burrow.
It's better than cage.
Welcome to the Hedgehog Watchdog cage.
Woo. At least the burrow is like a little more freeing. You know, you're out in the world.
You got your little burrow. It's a
Yeah.
little piece of you. You know.
Yeah.
It's cage though. They're literally caged animals. Are they like pets? You keep them as pets?
Yeah. Sadly.
You can't keep them in cages. No. And you can call it humanity too. Like, I'm saving this hedgehog. It's, you know, from wild environment where it has freedom. What's that quote about freedom? Dangerous freedom? Or
Oh, okay. Let me
what's that
think
quote
here.
I'm thinking in my mind right now?
I'd rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful statism. But it's not. I don't think it's that.
I don't know. We got Google machine.
Google. I'd rather have my cage than
My burrow in the cage. I'd rather have the burrow in the cage.
dangerous freedom. Okay, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, and that was a quote from Thomas Jefferson.
Oh man.
So thank you, Google, for help hooking us up with the information.
No, I mean, part of me just laughs at the irony of it all, you know?
Yeah.
Who was it that said that one quote about freedom and slavery? Yeah. It's got its face on a mountain.
TJ.
Thomas Jefferson, that man invented a tool used for hemp cultivation.
Yeah.
And you would think if she's going to quote him, she would not only quote him, but live by the principles that, like he did, that hemp was an incredible cash crop. It was mandatory in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
For you to live there, you got to know it. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think we got to an hour roasting her, kind of just.
Yeah, there's nobody watching.
Hey, no, that's fine. Watch later.
Might as well cancel this special.
Did we advertise this?
No, we never advertise your specials. We just go with them.
Just go with them. Let people enjoy them later after the fact. If you got this far, appreciate you. Support you.
Yeah. You know, go through my normal closing stuff. If you like their content, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Hedgehog Watchdog, and we're also on trovo.live/free speech media. And as always, this episode, well, it's not really an episode. This special spontaneous live stream is brought to you by Pinkcoin.
That's what happened.
You check them out at pinkcoin.com. Also, a reminder to everybody, we have our convention in Sioux Falls at the Clubhouse Hotel and Suites on March 20th. I'll start at 2 p.m. If you're from Minnehaha County, we encourage you to come at 1. Minnehaha County will be electing their county affiliate executive committee. So that should be interesting.
Right.
And then, all of the statewide XCOM positions are also up for grabs. So if you want to run for anything, I strongly encourage you to do it. I had a really good time as communications director the last 2 years. I'm sure CJ has had a good time as river coordinator. I think he organized our one and only presidential debate that our state has ever had. And George Jorgensen won that one too. It was a close vote, wasn't it?
It was an incredible conversation.
Yeah, it was the only debate where the candidates got to ask each other questions the entire debate, not just like one section of it. Like the whole thing was they're asking each other questions. And you're just like keeping time. And I think that's how debates should be. That's why I like Echo Chamber Podcast, which is also on Free Speech Media Network.
Yeah, I really like you guys. That was a great.
I like the whole debate format. I kind of hoped Hedgehog Watchdog does like a monthly debate. I don't know if we're as good as Roger in organizing the debates, but and we like to do the guest interviews as well. So I mean, we're obviously
participating in those circles as a debater would help.
Yeah, if there's a topic I'm passionate about, but I'm like more passionate about our local issues than national stuff. I don't really get all pumped up. But if I'm like, let's get a debate, some stupid piece of crap Republican conservative trying to tell me I can't smoke weed, that'd be my number one subject.
Okay. I wonder if we can get you with an anti-weed status.
Yeah.
You know, with a pro-weed libertarian. It can happen. The internet's with people from all walks of life. So, these are just special fun to break down because, you know, these time people are just stupid. You know, I hope when you go to this convention, if you're Kristi friendly, if you're one of those libertarians at conventions, like Kristi knows, libertarian governor had as the outgoing East River regional coordinator. I don't know if I can. How's the nicest way to say this? I'm just gonna go there with a list of like a piece of paper and a notebook, you know, and write down like every status I made.
Yeah.
And just be like, you know, because I mean, some people are actually going to show up. I mean, we're the ones
we're in a one state. We kind of know what the voting numbers were.
Well, I mean, hopefully as many people showed up for Spike Cohen. I think we'd had like 60, 70 people. So that's what I'm hoping. I hope we can get it up to 70 people. We've got an 80-person limit, so it'd be great if more than 80 people showed up. But
80 people showed up, Devin, what would you do?
I would just pretend that only 50 people showed up, and who's counting? Who's counting?
Right. What happens when the government shows us due to COVID? We can have 80 people in this room.
Yeah.
And we're in their business, so the Libertarian Party and the community is going to have to respect that establishment's rules.
Yeah.
So it looks like to the first 80 that want to show up, if you're bored at home in Sioux Falls that day, or want to drive across the state. I mean, I can usually get through Sioux Falls in 2.5 hours.
Gosh.
Really, I mean, if you plan ahead, it's on a Saturday, right?
Yep.
So I mean, you plan ahead Saturday, come in on Friday night, get to the hotel, enjoy the morning. I'm sure they'll have some kind of breakfast there at the hotel. Then,
Yeah. It's a nice hotel, clubhouse, and they're really good on, if it snows or anything stupid happens, you can get a refund on your rooms. So they're really good about that. So
that's the place we met.
Yeah, dude, it's sentimental value for me. It's the first place I met CJ, Greg, Lisa, Tracy. Literally, the first time I met everybody, George Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Sadly, two of the people there.
We will survive a blizzard.
I remember moderating. I remember being somewhat interested in Libertarian Party, like interested enough to moderate a debate. I was coming in and moderating the debate as an ANCAP, so that's why they picked me, because I was neutral.
Do you think?
And then I heard CJ. CJ said like all the right things, dude. I had to have a hard time composing my face. I'm a moderator. I'm supposed to be neutral, but CJ is going against some guy that thinks weed should be illegal and that taxation wasn't theft. So I was like, I had a really hard time. But CJ, everything he was saying was things I was like, okay, this party is a lot cooler than I thought.
And now you're right.
So I was like, yeah, I got into this thing full on medallion.
Hey, but I think there's been a lot of history within the state party. I think there's been players, certain individuals, but there's been certainly
lots of drama.
That I mean,
lots of betrayals.
Okay, but
lots of good moments too. Lots of highlights.
I'm just saying, we've had moments where, in my opinion, we weeded out people that were not libertarian.
Yeah, that was the one thing that
and it was hard. Some people
needed to happen.
It was hard for some people to admit that this party, before you and I met, was being infiltrated by
heavily,
party state.
Heavily, and the moderates were not keeping them at bay. It was just a lot of conservative Republican wash-ups.
Yeah, like you lost.
Just like, I was joining the Libertarian Party because it's easier to get.
Right. Prior to elections at our conventions, prior to that, it was, you know what I mean? If that hasn't changed,
dude, as soon as that changed, that's when our party started actually growing like significant amounts.
Absolutely.
And it's still growing, especially with this Ravensburg issue and Kristi Noem killing the weed amendment somehow using
and the
witch magic.
Hypocrisy, like we demonstrated.
So people are coming in drills. And can you imagine if we were just a Republican light party during this? Moment, people wouldn't join the party. They'd be like, "Oh, that's just another Republican." Yeah, dude.
And I've said this before. I would rather have no libertarian than a libertarian. I want all capital letters
That's what I want. I'm not just encouraging anybody from running for XCOM.
No,
But if you want any endorsement for me in that convention, you need to be in all capital letters libertarian. I'm not going to be playing any games anymore.
No.
I'm not going to be nice just because I'm a new guy. I'm not new anymore. I'm like 2 years old. I'm in my sophomore year. Yeah. Yeah.
If you survived 2 years in this party, you can run for chair if you take your job seriously.
Yeah.
You conduct yourself, within the capacity of your position on XCOM. And communications director to chairman if the party would elect you.
Yeah, dude. If you apply yourself, if you literally just do what your job title is, and
right, what you
if you maybe push it a little bit extra, go extra mile. Like for instance, when you did that debate, there's no job description for the regional coordinator organizing presidential debates. I mean, if you just take initiative, CJ did, and organized a debate between George Jorgensen, Adam Kokich, Judge Jim Gray.
I felt like it was a unique position.
Really puts the party on the map.
Well, I felt like I was in a unique position to say, hey, is this something we can put together? I was already working with, Adam, and I was already talking in circles, and being on XCOM certainly helps, because these candidates for president, they want the support of the executive committees of every state.
Yeah.
That's what they're waiting for, is support not only the executive committee, but then in turn, people that turn out for them. These events like Freedom Feast, and, campaign stop for presidential candidates, etc. So it's extremely important. So, you've been to all the events, you've been to national convention, you see how it works, and you believe for chair is that you can do, and I think you're still qualified. So, you got.
I got 20,000 people, 20,600 people to vote for me in a three-way race. I ran as strongly as a libertarian. All I talked about was being a libertarian.
Absolutely.
So I know there's 20,000 people in the state that support the Libertarian Party to a degree enough to vote for me, at least.
Right.
So why do we only have 2,000 registered libertarians, or 3,000 now maybe? We need to have 20,000 registered libertarians. I want to see that. I don't know what it takes to make it easier to register to vote. But I want to get voter registration forms to all those people and have them switch their party affiliation to libertarian.
Switching party affiliation should be a very simple process.
Yeah, it should be as easy as just going online to do it. But in South Dakota, they don't want that. They want you to use paper.
Well, in the DMV can screw it up.
Yep. Things go wrong. That's happened to one of our candidates who was forced to drop out by the Secretary of State because the DMV didn't get their registration changed for whatever reason. And it happened to you as well.
Well, I corrected the same day at my local city office.
So there's definitely
which they, of course,
suspicion, in my opinion.
The Dakota Hit Piece Press, the page shield of the Republican slander machine. That app will find, something like that, and they'll run with it without looking into it. Without giving you the chance to find that clerical error, or to make the call and say, hey, what's up with this? So I actually found that out, like, breaking to me. Like, wait a minute, I thought I saw it. Check the little box that says I want to be a donor.
Yeah. And I think I feel like all Catholic libertarians do the most work. They're the ones taking initiative and doing things.
To go to convention.
They were the ones willing to go all the way to Orlando in the middle of a pandemic to sit there for 36 hours in meetings and represent South
We
Dakota.
walked miles.
And you know, people that don't participate that much, they're generally always Republican conservative wash up that join the Libertarian Party to get easy ballot access.
That's kind of what I discovered when I first came.
And it really drags the party down when there's multiple ex-con members that are like that and aren't doing jobs. My cat is cat's being libertarian is hell weird.
Yeah.
But, I'm looking for it. It's going to be fun to see what happens. I hope some last minute curveball excitement happen. I hope somebody runs against me for chair. I don't want to be unopposed.
Okay, I'm hiding my bias as I think you'll make a good chair, but I'd be interested to see if somebody thinks that they should run for chair against you, and think that they have something to offer.
Yeah.
And if they do, I'd like to bring that same style format I did for presidential to the chair debate.
Yeah, dude, that'd be sick.
And I could moderate that for the chair debate. And I mean, I'm rooting for you, but I'm just a glorified timekeeper.
Maybe Greg will run.
Well, I mean,
I'm hoping Greg runs.
I mean, again, I'm thinking I get to moderate that debate,
Yeah, that'd be definitely poetic because I moderated CJ's governor debate,
and then
we'll come full circle.
My last
as my last act as East River Regional Coordinator, just ceremoniously moderate debate.
I mean, I'm not even going to elaborate if I get a Steve Novotny to go against, and he's just like, I think weed should be illegal, and then goes into like a 3-paragraph essay on why. I'm just going to be like, I think weed should be fully legal. That's it. What else do you want me to say? I think you should be allowed machine guns and RPGs. I'm that kind of libertarian.
How libertarian are you, Devin?
I mean,
everybody should be allowed to have a tank. I don't care.
Hang on, Devin. How libertarian are you?
How libertarian are you?
Dude, if you can afford the maintenance on that, see, here's my philosophy on that though, nukes. I don't think a private citizen would be able to afford the nuke. There's the maintenance.
What if you need to make it in your own kitchen?
The maintenance thing.
Not FBI.
A lot of resources to construct, and people aren't going to go to your business if they fear that you have a nuke. So you're going to go bankrupt.
But what if you know to make a nuclear bomb? Should you be able to not make it?
Well, you got to get a big facility, and you got to rotate the uranium-138, I think.
Okay.
Rotate it, and it isolates the isotope to the 135, and that takes a long time to collect enough to build a nuke. And it takes a lot of resources. Like, literally what I'm saying is you need a country to build nukes. I don't think nukes would exist. I don't think they would exist.
You don't think they would exist?
I think they would be not profitable enough for people to even produce them.
What about one nuke?
It would cost you billions of dollars, dude.
But if I was like Iran,
straight up.
Iran nukes and look what the U.S. government.
Iran's putting tens of, probably even $100 million into their nuclear program.
Okay,
so
but if I had Bill Gates' money,
literally, to get one nuke, I think you would have to be like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. There's only two. Well, I can even think of that have enough money, and they'd have to liquidate all their assets, all of it, have just $180 billion in cash. Are they going to do that? Get one nuke? I don't think they would. Why would you?
I would.
What would be the point of liquidating all your getting rid of stuff, SpaceX, all of it, just throwing it all away just to get one nuclear weapon?
Well, as you know, I have done this for. So here,
you have enough money to protect it. your nuclear weapon from somebody,
What
some
if
pirates.
What if I get buy a nuclear missile in the silo from the government and just go live in that bunker in that silo and it's only me myself?
Just don't violate that, man.
What if the NAP is violated? What if somebody violates the NAP against me?
Dude, you gotta make sure that nuke only kills that one person.
What if
And you got about the environment hazards, right? You're gonna kill the environment.
What if that entity violated against me was government? Just
I don't know. I think you should use bullets.
Oh, so now you're
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it'd be more profitable to use bullets.
For you, this is like ammo, man. Like I'm like recreational for your war. Really the future.
I just don't know if that's economical,
I think
man.
it's like I think we're in the future we're gonna have bombs that are like nuclear bombs. So
Dude, I think so too. But I think we'll be off planet.
tactical,
Like we'll be off planet by then. So you know.
nuclear,
Like here's my opinion on it, like for real though, like if you want a recreational nuke, I think that might actually be necessary if we're talking about space colonization.
right?
Like it'd be like miners back in the Old West getting TNT from the grocery store, like they blow holes through the mountain. Well, space colonization, we're gonna need to blow holes in planets to get there to mine them and stuff.
Right. And what if I want? What if I need to feel like that? Or an ape civilization? Definitely, high quality relates the NAP, consumes everything like that, kill you permanently.
Yeah, dude, I definitely think nukes would be a powerful asset for private companies when they're exploring the galaxy, because you know eventually we're going to come across intelligent life,
So now,
and we're going to want to allow McDonald's to have nuclear weapons. So when they're building McDonald's out on like said Sagittarius
right?
Sector 5, you know, planet, they meet some alien civilization, you know, I'd want them to be able to defend themselves with the full extent of human weapon technology.
Right. But should the government regulate
I mean,
that?
a lot of people talk about nukes and being on Earth. So I think when we get to the point where private citizens can have nukes, we're gonna have inhabited like a dozen planets, and you know.
So well, to rise before we can.
No, like what you're talking about, like if everybody has nukes, like you can buy a 12-pack of nukes. They're the size of a can.
Oh yeah.
Think about it, eventually we'll get to that point.
Kristi, what's your opinion on 12 packs? So
I feel like
I want to know if I get 12 packs, I'm thinking as the size of a
I feel like there is going to be a chair debate now, and this is going to be the question that comes full circle to the last question of the chair debate. Like, how do you feel about recreational nuclear weapons?
like the size
I'm
of
sticking to what I said, though. You know, I'm not going to change. You can go back to what I just said in this podcast. I'll say the same thing.
Absolutely.
I'm
Pro
I am, but like I have to take a moment to explain myself, because like I don't envision a society where like everybody's house has a nuke in the basement. I think that's not plausible.
You world,
You know, really, if you think about it, okay, let's pretend thought experiment. Everybody has a nuke in their basement. Like, what do you need militaries anymore? I mean, is anybody going to start shit with anybody? Is crime going to go away? I mean, I feel like crime might go away. Everybody's threatening everybody else with total annihilation. You know?
I'm just
And what about mental illness? It's like, you know, I'm taking everybody out with me kind of attitude.
right, like the world.
Oh my god. I'm gonna be like Pat Powers vlog laughing about the city getting blown up by a dude.
That's just you're like naked behind his computer screen.
Oh God!
These two said, "Ring." Oh, tell you what.
Yeah.
It's a long road to get this next convention, but yeah, I hope the question comes up. It just didn't really be a convention without like.
Yeah, they let me write the questions and I was moderator. I don't see why you wouldn't get to write your own questions.
Okay. I feel like I could write questions, but there's certain things that I like restricted. I mean, for the budget that depends all your free, all your time. I still feel like this version of XCOM still is hesitant.
Yeah, I could say that. I'd say this XCOM's a little more hesitant on current events in South Dakota, like right when they come out.
Yeah.
Like it waits a little bit too long. And I'd like to, dude, I don't need to wait to know if something is right or wrong.
Right.
For example, the Roundsburg situation, within 2 minutes of reading that he ran somebody over, I wanted to say something.
Or like looking at each other.
But it's like backwards. Hey, wait. We'll fix this. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I think the Roundsburg thing, we waited too long to say something. I wanted to say something right away, but I'm gonna respect, other people's opinions and not just be a dick.
Yeah. Okay. So this message that I should look into Jason's military background and speaking of that, myself, how many veterans committed suicide because they don't have access to medical cannabis?
Yeah, dude.
How many veterans have come home and faced a government that has destroyed their constitutional rights?
Yeah, dude.
And
it's like this. And it's like every minute someone's dying of cancer and they want to smoke weed so they can die peacefully or so they can get an appetite to eat food and have the energy to fight it off naturally. But they're going to have to wait 15 months now because Kristi Noem gets her way. Like the legislator doesn't waste a beat doing whatever Kristi Noem presents to them. But when we present a 70% vote, we have medical marijuana by July. By July? No, delayed for a year and a half.
yeah, then we're going to shoot up a bunch of fireworks and stuff where you are.
Yeah. What is up, dude? I just that pisses me off so much. I want to steal the fire. I don't want to sound like the Grinch. I want to steal the fireworks, replace them all with green fireworks.
I'm telling you, First Nations people go and protest the same way when Trump was coming out here.
Yeah.
And watch what happens. Except this time you're willing to go further than you did before. And that's like, hey, Linda, you need to know right where you think she's going to stand, and you need to stand with. Yeah. So, they like to shove in your face that so-called freak, she said tonight, provides zero evidence. She herself actually allows you to live by those principles of being free. Like her freedom is freedom defined, which isn't freedom at all.
Like if she's not promoting freedom to do cocaine, then she doesn't know what freedom is.
No, she's saying you have the right to do it. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the perfect answer.
I'd be like, listen, Kristi, I don't recommend you smoking cannabis, but I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be paid. I'm not going to be a felon. I'm not going to go other rates. Like, nobody says, if you smoke weed, you should lose your guns. I'm like, nothing else you go like, hey, man, you're this and you take your right to go to church.
Yeah, that's what would have made me proud of the state. And I was proud for a couple months before the lawsuit was filed. That in South Dakota would be the only state where you'd have easy access to firearms and weed. Like, how more libertarian is that?
I mean, it was a long way of shutting up the libertarian party and the cannabis. But I guess this is what the conservative party is with libertarians like us. First, we give you weed, then you want to be like Oregon, and you're psychedelic mushrooms.
No.
You know, like,
well, I mean, yes. I mean, yes. Yes, that is the plan. But, like, you know, I'm game for a long-term plan. Like, I would be happy with weed. I wouldn't have been bitching about legalizing anything else for maybe a couple more years.
Right.
5 more years.
I mean, let people get comfortable with what we just did with
I mean, you can grow your own mushrooms. It literally grows cow poop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not even illegal to grow mushrooms. It's only illegal to pick them. So, like, I feel like mushrooms is like a really difficult narcotic, if that's what you want to call it, to get caught with. But, you know, mushrooms are another thing where you can't overdose on it. Like, all these drugs you can't overdose on, they should just be illegalized immediately. Everything that you can't overdose on, you know, that's personal liberty. Like Kristi was saying.
Is suicide illegal in South Dakota? Like suicide.
Probably.
Like, oh, I feel like we should look that up. Is suicide a crime?
Let's do it. Oh my God, we had a viewer for a second. God
Oh.
damn it, we lost them.
Not even a consequence. Man, it must just hate us.
I mean, what day is it? It's a Saturday night.
Dude, like I said, I had an hour and 32 minutes to listen to us. You know?
Suicide act.
Appreciate it.
Oh, wait, that's in
Hope you
England.
enjoy it after the fact. Saturday night here.
I mean, a lot of people have a lot more to think
Oh,
about.
man, this is
You know,
What do you find?
a common law suicide is a felony, but an attempted suicide is only a misdemeanor.
So, you commit
Oh wait, it's not sharing my screen.
if you commit suicide,
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
if you commit suicide, that means that if you're successful, which South Dakota has one of the highest suicide rates per capita, then they can be a felon.
I mean, that's just according to this old
Post-mortem,
common law.
post-mortem, they can make it.
I think they make it illegal for like insurance purposes, so you can't just like collect. Your beneficiaries can't just collect if you commit suicide.
Why not? Why not? What
Those are the terms that you sign up for when you get life insurance. When you sign your papers.
what if
Agreed to
what if
those.
it was like a company was like you kill yourself to get it?
Why? Oh my God, dude. This is getting tired.
We've gone for insurance companies and insurance suicide. No, but Devin, this is just demonstrating that you can have some pretty crazy but yet intriguing conversation about libertarian philosophy.
Dude, no, Soylent. Is that how it's pronounced? Soylent Green, for that Charleston Heston movie from the 70s. It's about people. Well, I think everybody's seen it. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it's about people that voluntarily kill themselves because Earth's overpopulated and they're sick of it. And like a glass of strawberries costs like $1,000. Like you can't get like meat anymore. All you can eat is this shit called Soylent Green, and it ends up at the end. Soylent Green is made from the people that are voluntarily killing themselves.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's fun. So that's why I eased into this conversation so quickly because I just watched that movie. So now it's kind of like in my I'm in sci-fi mode.
Oh, so
Am I even like talking or am I muted? Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, man. Too bad Greg couldn't come on and.
I messaged him. I was like, dude, we're doing a spontaneous show if you wanna.
Well, I don't know if you know internet words more for the internet. The internet's 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
I mean, so for me, like, especially like with you the other day with
I think
Jason.
the consistency of the 7 o'clock on Sundays gets more callers to come because they're like,
Yeah, I hear week on that stuff because I think that's a good amount of time. It gives you a full week for the government to fuck up. And
yeah,
cap that week.
there's a lot of stuff. You need to pick one of the things they fucked up on to talk about in particular, usually.
Right. But see, what I Monday to Friday is like mainstream news digest.
Yeah.
Needs podcasting, needs like libertarians trying to make recommendations. So, homesteading, volunteerism, things like that. When working with that podcast, really had been challenged a lot in my soul and how I keep my point. And one of the things I appreciate about the show is that we can talk about pretty much anything we want to because censor's damned because we want to have a conversation regardless of the topics we go to, the philosophical debates you can have and ideology. So, I've appreciated that about the show, and to me, special like when we have a fortunate like Jason Browns with you, on Hedgehog Watchdog, spontaneous broadcast. Like this one was certainly circumstances and the previous time we were live for everybody.
Yeah, dude, we got removed right away. It was annoying.
Yeah, but even to that extent, that's even like a judge's orders. I'm just more impressed with how quickly everything related to that topic got taken down. Granted, we all persevered up to back up our own content and what we could get.
Yeah.
But,
I read the judge's orders, though, and that only applies to states.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If you're like a private entity, you've got that.
Yeah.
Like, stick behind baseball. You got Patreon?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what being actively and engaged within your network and, your networking knows that content to where you know how to back up. We can smoke.
Yeah.
I think we need it after getting fucked by the government for so long.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hypocrite though when I watch other people's podcasts. I don't like it when they smoke for some reason.
Oh, dude.
I feel like it's dirty, but then I'm doing it literally all the time on my own podcast. So,
well, I have some candidates inside.
And again. I'm gonna be dirty.
Oh, I love a good cigarette.
It's late night special. We smoke.
Hey, again, I think to I was doing an endorsement speech for you is that you have to share the engage in that conversation, and you're to maintain professional status. I'm not sure you're gonna have like thoughts like being chair and having to deal with me.
Yeah, I think communication director to chair is an easy step because they're both in charge. Well, I guess the chair is in charge of the messaging and the but the communication director is like the second deputy in charge of messaging, I guess.
Well, a lot of responsibility in that sense, and I would, your communication director always won't let us, quote ourselves, to make sure that the way we're trying to frame our message is accurately portrayed.
Yeah, like every scoop of ice cream should be in the bowl.
Like you're not going to paraphrase me context.
Yeah.
You're going to give me context in a story. You're gonna use that journalism appropriately to make sure that, as a communications director for other XCOM members, that what we're saying gets put out. Now, granted, there's I even recognize, I'm like, yeah, no, this isn't going to be worth putting out on the main page. But for someone like me, I go, no, there's some content I put out that edited right, bleached appropriately.
Yeah.
I would even be like a Facebook saying or big social tech people saying, hey, go choose off into accepting this free speech language or the dictionary has no limit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To me, it's always about it. If you can't speak the way you want to and how you want to, in the manner you want to, and people the way you want to address them, regardless, you don't have a right to be offended and then control me to offend you.
Yeah.
You can't use force because I offend you. There's things that people that offend me. Kristi Noam clearly offends me. That doesn't give me the right to drag her out of office, use her to the guillotine.
Yeah.
And she's lucky that my principles say that I can't use force to drag her to the guillotine. That's my principle. That's not just me being nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's me saying I use force to do that to you. But then is she would use force to do that.
Queen, no.
And that's what the deal with the stated is that you certainly see you're free, but then you sorry. So you say you're free, yet everything you say contradicts them. You say you have certain principles, but you don't live them. What was the quote from the night that we were going to put on our campaign slogan? Who was it, up to their principles or something? Like, what was it? What was the exact quote? I mean, it was priceless. It was like she was going to get a cause for it or something that never came.
Hideous speech again, pinpointed it.
No, I think, dude, that should definitely be the opening intro for the show tomorrow. Like, rip that video, that one part, and just lead with it.
Yeah, I can't wait to go over that Roundsburg interview. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to watch the whole thing. It's on Hedgehog Watchdog. Yeah, because it happened, dude. It literally came out a half hour after our last show.
No, what do you mean? Interview? Oh yeah, that's right. So you haven't done the breakdown.
Not yet, because the Sunday scheduling thing. That's the one downside. But we got a long time, a whole week to analyze the video.
Well,
so we're gonna go right into it, right away. We're not gonna sit through the whole thing. We'll do the first half of the show. I'll probably interview Austin Eastman, who's running for governor. And I think his VP, his vice governor, lieutenant governor is going to be on too, Chandler.
So this guy's running for governor.
Yeah.
He's declared.
Yeah, he's declared.
2022.
I mean, I don't know if it's Secretary of State declared or just,
No. Because there's a
Facebook declared.
No, it's Facebook declared.
Yeah.
It's Facebook declared. So, when I ran January, you can go into the Secretary of State's office and declare you're running.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have a election sometime, somewhere in 2022 to determine.
Mm-hmm. And let's say get 50 signatures, then we have a primary.
Oh yeah. Get 50 signatures for sure if you can. I'm not disagreeing you to not do that as well. But the thing is that when we're running for president, you're going to be put in a unique position, like I was, to really challenge that mainstream narrative Kristi pushes every day. And she is, for all respect I'll respect her in one aspect. Here's my challenge because she is good at using media to her. And she has that down. She got an entire a crowd of people to bat like.
She's learned a lot from Trump.
Calling people sheep.
You know what I mean? Like that's level manipulation.
Yeah, dude.
So, I mean, she's evolving
in a very respectful way for a fascist dictator too.
I mean, as far as like,
Everybody wonders how Hitler could rise to power, but it's like watching Kristi Noem. It's like, yeah, all those people that believe that she's about personal liberties.
I don't think I have any questions about how Hitler was power.
I get it. I totally get it now.
I absolutely get it.
You have a good backstory that's tragic, and for like I've heard about here, she's an attractive woman. It's like to me, a woman so ugly on the inside. To me, your outside appearance does not even compute in the brain because I don't see you for your outside form. I see that internal disgusting creature swamp thing that you are. I like putting that, X-ray vision and seeing what's on the inside. I go, okay, so if you're gonna run against her, and you're gonna have party's endorsement. You're not just preach on it. You have to know the Libertarian Party platform issues.
Yeah.
Like it is your gospel. And you're those to the debate against her. You're not going to sit there and say that 6,000 years old and the answer to stopping suicide is the church. If you do that, I swear to God, I will to the next convention. You won't.
Yeah, hopefully we see the end of Kurt Evans.
Well, I mean, it to me, Evans was the last of a classic controlled option.
Yeah.
Had a momentary chance to show that they're still there, but once exposed, they played the hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they stopped trying. I know that they wouldn't have votes anymore. Unless they brought their own votes with them.
Right.
So, I feel like if it's going to be next to impossible at this next convention for any washed up Republican to even get on XCOM or even be a candidate for our party anymore.
Because you have nominated in second.
You have to run against none of the above.
I'm not going to be shy on speaking for NODA.
Yep, and
anymore.
Hey, I've called myself the unofficial manager for none of the above.
I don't even care anymore.
Like the unofficial campaign manager for none of the
That's
above.
how Nicholas Sarwark rose to fame in the Libertarian Party, is he would speak for NODA, and NODA would. I think he spoke for NODA at a chair race even, and the convention voted NODA, so they didn't have a chair, and the LNC had to pick a chair.
Wow.
Because nobody that was worthy ran for chair.
Right. But that's the thing I'm saying. Just for the record, I would for Devin Saxon for chair. But I will tell you, if you were running by yourself and nobody did against you, I'd still tell you have to beat NODA. But I'd be stepping away from being the active campaign manager for NODA against you. So.
I wonder if anybody's ever run for an office unopposed and then spoke for NODA too.
You really don't. You can vote to not be your chair.
Either way, you win because you win for your NODA speech, or you're gonna win the position that nobody's running against you for.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good diplomatic trick.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there's a lot that I think that when it comes to building this party, it's a fragile, small party because you have to be actively involved and engaged in the party.
Mhm.
So coming from the outside in,
It's like, you're not going to pass the front door without taxation theft.
Yeah.
without their
Yeah, and there's too many people dedicating too much time to this party for them to allow. Like we actually have like front linemen or whatever you call it in football now.
Yeah.
We've got linemen protecting the precious quarterback, which is our ex-com positions and candidate nominations. Like you have to get through that offensive line now to even try to.
One of the things that really made me realize that you great chair is how you approach the last convention in Pier with, selecting delegates, and we were trying to pitch JudCom and the discussion around JudCom and how it would be effective against a XCOM gun right.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think that that's something that this party should still pursue. I think it was in Tennessee or Kentucky.
Yeah, Tennessee passed a JudCom. A lot of states have a JudCom.
What was it that they based it?
LNC has a JudCom, and guess who was on it? Vermin Supreme.
Yes, I voted for him for that.
So I think our party is so small right now that it'd be difficult to get one that's trustworthy, knowledgeable enough in the bylaws.
Right, but I mean, again, that's why I can't do an executive committee, and we have bylaws. And, these are the things that we're at state level.
Yeah.
So I think it's years approaching JudCom.
We could even try it for this next convention.
I mean,
there's a lot of people that are not going to run for executive committee again who are on the executive committee this time, but maybe they'd want to be on JudCom since it's a less.
Right.
You
only come up with there's an argument. I guess there's a lot of arguments, though.
I would hope that I would be in a position for JudCom. And I think I'm in a position in a sense that I've experienced what a corrupt XCOM can do when I was in one.
Yeah.
And how manipulative, how it can be rigged against candidates, how it can be manipulated. And, so for me, being on JudCom would be so important because XCOM functioning corruptly is not good for the state party.
Yeah.
We ballot access. I mean, this is the Secretary of State that nicks the Constitution Party the sign of the state.
Yeah. Yeah, basically how the Constitution Party went down is two different people filed like articles of organization. Is that what it's called? Statement of organization, whatever. And two people declared themselves chair. Kurt Evans was involved with that conspiracy because he declared himself chair. He said that the old chair had moved out of state. I don't know if he had any evidence of that or whatever. Yeah. The other chair claimed he hadn't moved out of the state.
Yeah, it was terrible before that.
And then Kurt Evans declared himself chair, but then appointed a different chair and then resigned.
And then came over and wanted
The governor
killed the Constitution Party because the Secretary of State got two statements of organization. They're like, well, I don't know which one's real, so just disqualifying your political party status altogether.
Great
controlled opposition infiltrator he would be if he took out. I mean, I bet you he's getting like kudos Republican Party that you could mix the Constitution Party and top of the controlled opposition party, and so now they get the straight path to controlling the American all the way through.
Yeah, dude, if we had a strong governor candidate that year,
governor candidate. I was the guy who was like saying all the right things.
We would have had because Kurt Evans he got less than 1% of the vote, and then Kristi only won by what 4%. Kristi won by 4.
And the first rules up were all taxes should be voluntary, non-existent.
And I said something similar to that in my Puck interview. Dude, this thing went after me hard after I said taxation was theft and extortion.
Right.
But anyhow, my point was, like, I got 5.1%.
Yeah.
And I was a statewide candidate.
Yep.
Kurt Evans got less than 1%. So a candidate, an all-capital libertarian candidate, has already been proven that if I had run for governor, I would have had 5.1%, probably. And I would have swayed the election to Kristi not getting it, and we'd have legalized weed in July.
So you should have governor.
No, I'm just saying that an all caps libertarian is gonna break 5%.
Just for the record, I think I could have broke 5%.
Yeah.
You would have had farmers and me say all your taxes would be voluntary.
Yeah, dude. Like, the weak Republican watchdog candidates can't break 1%, but a real libertarian candidate is gonna get 5%. So, we need to make sure we get real libertarian candidates.
Right.
In the statewide offices, all offices.
Yeah.
But absolutely for certain, we need an all caps libertarian governor candidate.
So study the plank issues. Reach out to them, myself, everybody else. Going to be staying in that role. If you're a candidate, especially running in your local area or you're new to the party, we're the ones sitting here for the last few years. So who you to, show up attention to, reach out to us to ask questions because we've seen it doesn't work. I think that
we've seen what doesn't work. We've seen what works on a statewide level. I threw myself up there on the platter to see. Well, let's see what an all caps libertarian can do in a statewide race, and I performed remarkably well. Like, what does a washed-up Republican libertarian have to offer? That why would anybody that's Republican not just vote for the Republican normal candidate? Like, why would they do this washed-up Republican that's running as a libertarian? I'm going to vote for them instead. Like, that doesn't happen. That's why they perform so miserably, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad that he would even try to show up to another convention to try to get not something.
See what happens? Because, the way I remember it, I beat botany until all the technicalitarians, I call them.
Technicalitarians.
Yeah,
I like it.
Technically,
technically, I won that debate either way. And, my the nomination, and so debating Kurt Evans to me, I thought it was a little underhanded, of course, but I still volunteered to debate him and to go through it because I did think I was representing the libertarian conversation. Giddy, threw in the flag.
Yeah, that was like back.
But again,
even really knew Robert's Rules of Order and how it worked.
right.
That would never happen ever again, as long as I was at the convention, because I would just be like, no, no, there's no way somebody can just jump in and just like we already started the voting process. You can't be nominated now. There's an order to Robert's Rules of Order.
Right.
Who would have thought? There's an order to Robert's Rules of Order. You can't have a nomination process and start voting. And then, we got to re-vote at another convention because we didn't vote right or whatever. We didn't have a majority. We just had a plurality. So it's like, okay, well, then you continue the vote with the people that are still haven't been nominated at the convention. You can't just re-nominate people. Like, what the hell?
Right. So I knew this, but the former action was already violating bylaws. So
They violated Robert's Rules of Order, and
right, absolutely, because they were controlled opposition, they weren't actual libertarians.
so yeah,
Right.
2018.
Yeah, I know.
That was 3 years ago. Now we're at a 3-year anniversary at the same hotel.
And a 2-hour broadcast.
Special event. It's been a pleasure to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we should probably call it a
Well,
night.
yeah, but still.
Again, hedgehogwatchdog.com. I'm gonna shout out.
Yeah. I think we gave all the shout outs an hour ago, so
Well, you made it this far. Thank you for your support.
appreciate it. We'll see you in Falls and
See
Marsh.
Falls, guys.
You got an outfit for this show too?
Yeah.
Cool.